All right, what do we have today? We have the Marshall DSL20C. Let's see how it sounds. Howdy folks, this is Shane. I hope you liked that new backing track. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I shot and recorded that specifically for this particular video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Now, let's take a look at this little amp. Here's the amplifier up close. It's a 2-channel amp. We have the classic gain channel here, so you get a little bit of gain as well as a little bit of volume. Now, depending on what type of guitar you play, it's going to dramatically change how this sounds. So we'll try it with a Strat or Tele, as well as a Les Paul, and we'll see the difference in the tone. It's a pretty cool, clean platform. It's got much more clean headroom, obviously, than the DSL1 that I tested a while back. So yeah, if you're looking for something with a bit of clean headroom, this will actually do the trick. Channel select switch goes over to the ultra gain setting, which absolutely rocks. I love this setting, and I think it starts to shine on this particular amp as well. No doubt about it. The gain and volume work really well together. It actually sounds great with the volume cranked and the gain down a little bit as well. So we'll try a few different combinations. We also have a tone shift control here as well. So for those who like to gent and can, you might actually appreciate that, but I can't. So I'm gonna still show you how it sounds with just some chords and some lead stuff as well. But yeah, it drastically changes the sound of the amp. It definitely makes it sound a lot darker. It feels like the tone controls wound right off, as well as the mids. So if that's the kind of sound you like, then the tone shift is for you. That also works on both channels. We have a presence and a resonance control, which will test at all extremes, all the way up, all the way down, and back to the center as well. Presence controls kind of like the brightness on top of the treble. So there's this extra shimmer layer you can add to it if you so choose. And the resonance controls basically how the low end feels. It's kind of like a tight control in some ways. I found I kind of liked it right at about 12 o'clock, but we'll get to that in the demo. The reverb is a digital reverb, but that said, it sounds great. And I found its sweet spot to be somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock on the most part, somewhere around there, even a little bit higher. Just depends on what volume you're at is how differently it responds. Let's take a look at the back of the amplifier. We have an effects loop here as well, which is awesome. So if you want to run your favorite delay pedals, you can do that way. We also have a foot switch jack here. It comes with the foot switch as well, which I'll show you right about now. There it is. So it's actually steel. It's built extremely well. And yeah, it comes with the amp, which is great. And we also have an audio in and emulated out. So the audio in is, say you've got an MP3 player or your phone and you want to run it by one of those headphone style jacks, you can just simply plug it into there. We have an emulated out, which is essentially if you want to go into your sound card on your computer, you can run a signal from here and bypass the actual speaker on the amp. So it's great for low recording volumes and all that kind of stuff. I haven't tested that yet, but we're just going to see how the amp actually sounds. First, I might do a follow-up video on something like that coming up down the track, but here it is. Overall, it weighs a little bit, but it's not as heavy as my PV Bandit, which is a good thing as well. So that's a frame of reference. In terms of it being louder than some other amps out there on the market, I would say this amp is probably quite a bit louder actually than a Blues Junior. It could just be the size of the cabinet that does that, I'm not too sure. But either way, it's a pretty cool amp. A huge thanks to Sky Music for letting me review this. I really appreciate it. If you like this review, give it a thumbs up, and I'll give you my thoughts about the amp at the end of the video. So let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. Today I'm playing my Tokai Love Rock electric guitar. We're going to swap it up from time to time with different guitars that I've got behind me right now. We're going to start on the ultra gain setting because I figure most people will want to hear that first. And then we'll go over to the classic gain for more of a clean tone and see what that can do with Strat and all that kind of stuff as well. So this is neck pickup. Yeah, bridge. All right. Gain up to 3 o'clock, so it's cranking. Let's try with a little less bass. It's pretty wild, man. Gain all the way up. Whoo! Bridge pickup on a Strat. As you could hear, the tone shift button definitely makes a difference to the sound. I did have the gain wide open, so what I'm going to do now is just back it off to 12 o'clock and we'll give this a go also. Here we go. Tone shift in. I definitely like it with it out. I think it sounds way better than my ear. Yeah. Let's see how the amp sounds with more of a clean tone. We're over to the classic gain channel. I've got the gain most of the way down and the volume up at about 2 o'clock. Gain around 12. try it with the gain all the way up, see what happens. Actually sounds pretty cool. Let's try the same settings now back on my Tokai Love Rock. Yeah. Now let's just take a quick look at the presence and resonance. I'm going to turn both of them up all the way and then all the way down so you can hear the difference. All the way down. And back to 12 o'clock. Cool. Alright, so you might have a few questions about this amplifier, and if you do, please leave them below in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, in terms of volume, it's friggin' loud. I recorded most of this demo on the 10 watt mode because I found like the 20 watt mode, especially in my house, was just way too loud. It would have definitely annoyed the neighbors. So that said, the sound quality between 20 and 10 watts isn't that much different. It just sort of drops the volume, which is exactly how it should work. So thumbs up to Marshall for getting that right. I actually feel like the power attenuation on this actually works. So thumbs up from me on that one. The clean channel is good. I find it okay. I'm a Fender guy mostly in terms of Fender cleans. I think Fender makes some of the best clean amps out there. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed this and it would obviously take pedals pretty well also. The ultra gain setting is just a whole lot of fun. You can get anything from just classic rock all the way through to heavier stuff if you want to engage the tone shift control as well. Is that the tone shift control I'm pushing? It is. So yeah, you can definitely get some pretty wild sounds out of this amp at just about any volume, as well as where using the gain control to your advantage, up or down, depending on what you like. I found the 3-band EQ, the resonance, and the presence control all very, very functional, but this brings me to my one huge criticism of this amp, and I don't know necessarily if it's one of those issues relating to the 7080 speaker that's in here, but if you dial in a really great rock and dirt tone, and then you go back to clean, I found like the clean was always too bright. You'd have to walk over and turn down the treble control. At least that's how it feels to me. It's not very well balanced in terms of both channels in terms of top end. Now, I know once you start stacking a whole lot of gain on your signal, you're gonna lose a little bit of tops. But that said, I almost felt like it needed its own separate 3-band EQ for the clean channel, but I think the bigger amps have that anyway. But for a small amp, it's definitely rocking if you can, work around that. You're definitely going to be in heaven. Would this replace like a Fender clean for me? Absolutely not, but the dirt channel replaces pedals. I think the dirt channel on this, the ultra gain channel, is just really, really cool, so I enjoyed that. Could this amp sound even better without a Celestion 7080 speaker? Absolutely. If you've got a different cabinet, try it in that. If you're going to replace the speaker, I think almost anything would make a huge upgrade to this amp tone-wise. I still think it sounds good, so don't get me wrong. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. For those who didn't see my unboxing video of this and my first impressions, I was really devastated to find out they put a 7080 in here. It's just such a lazy choice for a speaker. Guess what speaker they put in this thing? If you already know, you probably won't be as disappointed as I am right now. They used a Celestion 7080. I hate those speakers. But I've been proved wrong because it actually kind of works in this amp. If weight is an issue, this is definitely a pretty good amp because it's not too heavy. It's definitely lighter than my PV Bandit, even though mine has a Texas Heat speaker in there. It's definitely lighter than that. It's definitely lighter than a Blues Deluxe. And it's a little bit heavier than a Blues Junior, probably about a third heavier than a Blues Junior, but I would say this amp definitely has more output volume and just way more attitude. I mean, if I was to pick either this or a Blues Junior, coming from a Fender guy, I would pick this. I think this is way more musical. If I owned this though, I'd definitely replace the speaker, probably with a Texas Heat. I like amps that are extremely functional and usable. Turn them on, put everything to 12 o'clock and it should sound good. This amp does that on the most part. Like I said though, the clean channel is a little bit more ice picky in the highs than the dirty channel. So you're just gonna have to compensate like that. It should take pedals extremely well. Is it loud enough to gig with? It's pretty friggin' loud, I gotta say, it really surprised me. I don't know if it's loud enough to gig with. I haven't tried it out live, but this is one of those amps where 20 watts can sometimes be enough, but not really. 15 is definitely not enough. Like I said, if you put a more efficient speaker in here, that will definitely make the amp louder. Check out some of those Eminence speakers. They're just really loud and really great speakers to replace something like these 7080s. Overall, it gets the 2 thumbs up from me. I'm pretty impressed. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that as well. If you didn't, dislike it twice. And I'll catch you all on the next one. Thanks again, guys. A huge thanks to Sky Music for letting me borrow this and do this review. If you do have any questions, leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again, guys. Catch you soon. It's pretty cool.